What's up, everybody? CHM Carnivorous here. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Now, the last few videos have been some pretty heavy topics, so I thought it'd be fun to take a break from that and just do a carnivorous plant tour. We haven't done one in a while, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of show off how the Nepenthes are doing, and then go and look at the sundews in the Utricularia and even the Venus flytraps, and just take a look, see how they're doing, and have a little fun. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. All right, so right off the bat, I will tell you that these plants, I'm gonna have to figure out something for next year, not only for space, but also for heat. It has been incredibly hot here in Florida, and these plants grow inside a temperature-controlled shed, but it just can't keep up with the Florida heat. We've been hitting temperatures over 100 degrees on some days, not usually about 100 degrees. And even with the temperature controlled, a lot of these plants have been like, no thank you, but they still are doing well. And let's take a look. So the first thing I want to look at is the Maxima wavy leaf. Now you'll notice a lot of these plants, see right here, this is stress from getting too dry, and I'll point that out as we go through the video. A lot of that has to do with the heat that I was just talking about, but this thing is still done exceptionally well. So that was a leaf that just fell off, but look at the absolute gorgeous pictures on here. They start off like a tapered orange, and they go up to this neon yellow. As they age, and this one's a little bit older, they start to turn, that yellow gets a little bit off. But when they first come out, see if I can get this one, they are very, very vibrant, like a green yellow. It's doing very well, as you can see, quite happy. It's got pictures all over it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 large pictures that are doing well, and then a couple that are a little bit off. I also fed the plants Osmocote pellets about 3 or 4 days ago, and so they took a hit. I used just a pro tip here, use the plants, the pictures that are already going out, so you don't ruin the nice, beautiful new pictures. But love this plant's doing very well. Next to it is Mira by Truncata. Here again, I used some of the old pictures going out, so they're going out, but look at this one right here, newer, simply stunning. This plant produces, if you give it enough light, will produce amazing red coloration. Now, I grew this plant at a very, very sharp angle because I'm trying very hard to get it to basil, and as you can see, it worked. It took a while, but it finally worked and got to basil. I do not recommend growing your plants at this large of an angle unless they like extremely dry environments. This dries them out very fast, but I do that because I love the plants at basil and I want to get it there. And as you can see, it's got, looks like 2 active basils on it, and so now I'll probably get another hook and stand this picture up, or this plant up rather. But it's done very well. Even the basils are producing some decent size plants. Got that from Carnivorous a couple years ago. So this one was a freebie. Again, I'm growing at a stark angle because I want it to picture. I actually don't know the name of this. It was a freebie from Predatory Plants a couple years ago. It's a VTI complex hybrid. It loves the very dry soil, so it doesn't really mind that it's growing at this big of an angle. But here are the pictures on it. They've always been all green, but for as they have started to mature, it's taking on more of a Maxima feel to it. But you can see that very long neck of the VGI, and a little bit of a flare, not a terrible amount, but I like it, and it was free. Here, I want to point this out. This is Sibianensis patches by Truncata Giant from Carnivorous. And what's cool about this is not only are the pictures going to be amazing, but look at the dimples on that. That is from the glands. If I turn it around, see those things? If you ever had that, that is not any sort of a disease. That is not any too much water. Those are the glands. And the way you can tell is it will line up from the back right on the front, and you'll be able to see those are the nectar glands. So that's really cool. Here is a Aristolochioides by Thorillii, or Thorillii by Aristolochioides, not doing well. This is one of the things that I wanted to make a video about here in the future, and I probably will, on what not to do. I packed this media in way too tight, and it, as a result, has dried out, and that is why you see this very stressed out main vine here. It's doing okay. They will become woody, especially with the Aristolochioides parentage. They're gonna get woody and lanky like this, but still, see right here, see how it's got that powder? Not a happy plant. So I'm planning on taking that out of the pot and giving it space to grow. The reason why it does that is because if the plant is too tight in there, it dries out very quickly. If you can hear how crunchy that is, it dries out too fast. Some of that is perlite that you hear, but it needs a bigger pot. All right, so let's look at Stenophylla. It is doing very well. There's one picture over here hiding, being shy. Here's another one to look at. Beautiful, beautiful plant. They have very woody pictures. Not as woody as like a loei, but surprisingly very tough. It has done very well. It was such a slow grower and now has taken off. Maybe I can get up over top here. It's got pictures growing in the back. It's probably over a foot wide, 15 inches wide probably. So it's doing a very, very good job. Now that it hit what I would call adolescence for me, it's no longer a baby. It has really taken off. And I've talked about this multiple times in other videos. This plant likes bright light, and so that's why I have it so close to the top of the tent. And it will also in the wild produce up to 100 growth points. So I'm very excited to start to see that. So far it's just one, but we'll see how it goes. This is Estuche by Spatulata by Jacquelinier. There's a few of them in here, and as you can see back there, gonna have a nice coloration on it. It's taking its time. It's finally starting to hit a stride, but we will see how it goes. Now, we talk about different plants and is my plant healthy, how it grow. These plants, especially they're seed grown, will all have a mind of their own. I'm going to show you this thing, and I'm really proud of this little tiny straggler. I have had this plant for probably a year and a half, 2 years. As a matter of fact, I'm going to turn the camera over. This is a sibling of, let's see, very slowly, this. That kind of gives you an idea, and this one down here, that gives you an idea of how variable they can be when they're seed grown. I've never been able to get this thing to grow, but what has made me excited is I thought for sure it was dead, and it's finally started to come back, and it's got a little tiny red picture on it, and so it doesn't take much to excite me, and that does. Here's Aime. Here you see how the sphagnum moss, if it starts getting crispy ends like that, it's because it got too dry. It is still very much alive underneath, but that is a good sign of drying out. Doing okay, starting to get that long Aime neck, but it is a little bit of a slow grower. It's picking up pace, but it's slow grower, at least for me in my environment. This one is a Spatulata by Spectabilis by Cobra. It's got that beautiful, beautiful cobra, striped peristome, doing very well. We got a new picture here. It's taking its time growing, but I've got time. These are my babies. I've got several of them, but this is Spatulata by Rob Cantley. I talked about over and over again how I need to separate these, and it is about way over time for that. So I need to get that separated, but they're starting to put out some larger pictures, and I love them because, again, there's variability. So these are siblings, and so this one right next to it, very cream colored, big, wide peristome. Now it did just open, so that will go back a little bit. But then its sibling is this deep purple Spatulata by Rob Cantley, and I love that. And here is another one next to it. Look how beautiful these little things are. And they're very, very easy growing. Got these from Predatory Plants. I only bought 4 plants, right? I only paid for 4 plants. And I got this bunch, this bunch, this bunch, and that bunch. So Predatory Plants is a really good place when you're buying. Their plants are going to be small, but they don't mind sending you extras. They're not going to take the time to take them apart. And so, not always at least. And so you get a lot for your money. And so as you can see here, I don't even know how many plants are in there now, but doing very well. All right, let's see what else we can get into here. This one, I love this plant. Rob Cantley posted on Instagram the other day a large form of this that was more red. This is Renoir Tiana by Rob Cantley. And so I absolutely love this plant. It took forever to grow, but it is now taken off for me. relatively speaking, taken off, but I love it. It's just doing exceptionally well. Let's see what else. This plant has been the bane of my existence. This is, I think it's now called Nepenthes sumadera. This thing was a large plant and I had to cut it. I started growing it in peat moss and it seems to do better in that, ironically, than the sphagnum moss perlite I had. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be grown in that. Just in my experience, it has done very well. Well, not very well, as you can see, but okay in that. I have found it to be a temperamental plant. I don't know if anybody else has grown it, but it is temperamental for me, and it may just not like the care that I'm giving it, but yeah. This is Ventricosa Denver by Truncata Giant. It likes it here in this new environment. As you can see, it wasn't very happy at one point. This is typical of being too wet, getting that little bit of oedema, and so I've moved it up here in front of the fan and have given it more space. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm running out of space very quickly, and that can put stress on the plants because there's not as much airflow. And I'm going to show you in a minute what I've done when I get to the big Truncatas. This is a pulchra hybrid here, doing very well. And so there's its beautiful, it doesn't have the pulchra body just yet, but I've seen the parent, and it will take on those pulchra traits here soon. Got that from Todd's Tropicals. This is that big, well, if I can get it to focus. This is that big spatulata by Truncata Titan from Predatory Plants. They don't make this cross anymore, and I'm excited to tell you that it is blooming. It is blooming a male, so I'm very excited about that. Not only that, but it's got a nice basil on it that is doing, it's bigger than the plant was just a year ago, so it's doing very well. It stopped growing its main growth, and I was like, uh-oh, what's going on? It stalled out for quite a while, and it turns out it did that because it was growing not only this basil, but it looks like it's decided to flower. It is male, so that's exciting. Here are some of those babies that are doing good. I just watered, so they look a little drenched right now, but they are doing good. I put it at an angle that way they would not get swamped out. I do need to pull some of that sphagnum moss, and here's some more of those babies doing good. I lost the name tags for all of them, so they're going to be just unknown hybrids, which is a bummer, but I just love the plants. I know a lot of people are into identifying them, but I just love having them. Here's some of those Truncatas. Now let's take you over the Truncatas. Let me see if I can get back up. Here is the big Titan's Tower from Predatory Plants. Next to that is the big Hiroshima clone. That is, neither one of those have pictures on them right now that are in still good. They have one, but they're dying. Here is a baby Titan's Tower, or adolescence, if you will. Here's another adolescence of Titan's Tower. Here is the big Patian JB by Patian, rather. And it is growing. Its new picture here, it's already about a foot long and doesn't look like it has any intention of opening anytime soon. Now, judging by that leaf is a dinner plate at least in size. So I'm excited to see that. This is actually a JB by Truncata Giant from Carnivorous as well. Growing out, doing okay. Let's see. I'll make a video when that thing opens. It's going to be amazing. This is Renoir Tiana. I put it up here. It is very much enjoyed being up here on this makeshift shelf that I made. It's got some good Renoir Tiana pictures on it. I've showed it before. Little tiny eyes on that one, not very pronounced. I think the other one that had the pronounced pictures has not done. I don't think it kept when I moved it, unfortunately. Some more Truncatas. This is that big Bongzo by Merrilliana. Ventricosa by Bongzo by Merrilliana. Done very well all the way up to the top of the grow tent now, and it's got multiple basils. So that one is taking its time, but it's doing okay. I cut the main vine off on this glabrata by Aristo because it was dying off and I did not want it to run down the vine itself. It did not look very good to me, so I wanted to get it before it got down to the main vine. But it's got plenty of basils on it. It's just trucking along, doing okay. Here's another pulchra hybrid. You can see the pulchra bulbous body there on that. Very purple, doing okay. Let's see what else. Here we've got, let's see if I can reach it. Here is the newest picture. Whoop. Oh, sorry guys, let me get it. Here's the newest picture on Caesar. And here is Brutus next to it. Remember that I took that video of it breaking off. Hasn't missed a stride. Still growing just fine. Merrilliana, loving the heat. I'm worried about it when it gets cold, so I'm going to have to figure out something there. But it's just growing so fast. It's putting a lot of its focus on growth right now. It's probably grown a foot since the last video. So that one's going to need some attention before it gets too much. This is that big Caesar by Truncata. So it's growing out. Let's see, I've got one here. Very, very weak, very flimsy pictures. They're like paper thin, which is interesting because I would have thought with the Truncata parentage they would be tougher, and they are not. Caesar has done exceptionally well in here. It is not only growing taller, but it's hard to say, but there's another picture coming in there. It has been an exceptionally easy grower, in my opinion. So I thought that might be a basil back there, but I don't see one. I knew this was going to happen, but if you look back there, that's that Hamakua hybrid that produces enormous yellow pitchers. It has taken a step back on pitcher production. It likes very bright light, and I knew putting it down there, it would not be happy as far as pitcher production goes. But you know, you gotta make sacrifices. I'm planning on building another shelf to get it higher up, but in the meantime, it is what it is. This is Sibianensis by Merrilliana. If you ever follow Bergen Water Gardens, they have an enormous one. It's doing okay. It's definitely made a stride. Here's its newest picture. The other ones I've gotten ruined because they gave it Osmocote pellets, but it's starting to produce a little one that gets like baseball, softball sized pitchers right now that are really round. It will eventually get enormous pitchers. It's a tougher plant to grow, so having those big, beautiful pitchers is nice, but it is tougher. I will tell you that. I will say if you're going to grow it, it likes less light, so I try to keep it the lower levels of my grow tent. And it likes, because of that Sibianensis parentage, it likes to have its pitchers sitting on something, and so I try my best when I see them to put them on different plants or the media of other plants, and it seems to do very well. That is a quick tour. I'll make a part 2, but let's go over to the Drosera tent and look at the Utricularia and the Drosera and all that good stuff. All right, so it's a little harder to move around in here, but I wanted to show off the Utricularia tank, if you will, grow space. It's doing okay. You've got Cornuta that is growing absolutely amazing, and this is why people love Utricularia. It is because they put out these gorgeous little flowers. This is Cornuta. Next to it is Ficida, and what's really cool about this, and I don't know if I can get it to focus, is look at all the little beads of dew on it. That's not water, that's dew on there, and so that is really cool. Produces a ton of it. You've got Livida Mexican here. You've got the Livida, I don't know, it's not from Mexico. This one's from Mexico. Not sure where that one's from. You got Calypsophyta about to bloom back there. Let's see what else. All different varieties in here that are doing great. They're looking good. I will say, you'll hear my voice, I'm a little bit hesitant to call them fantastic, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. I've got a really annoying pest problem right now. Let's see if I can get a view of them. You see the little tiny white specks on that stalk? Those are aphids, and they are running amok in this tent, and it is so frustrating. I have been treating it for weeks now, and there's just so many plants in here that it is just nearly impossible to get. Here is some more. See if I can get over there. See the little white specks on there? They are just running amok in here, and so it has made it very difficult to get them taken care of. They won't kill your plant, but they will definitely make life miserable for you, especially for seed production, because they attack the flowers. And so I'm going to pull you around here, and I want to show you. So this one is supposed to be producing seeds, but you'll see that if it will focus, see how the seed stalk, that one back in the middle of your screen, is terminated? Those will do that, right? And so this plant is very stressed. Not necessarily from the aphids, but it was a new planted plant, first off. Second of all, I immediately had to spray it with a ton of neem oil, and it was not happy about that. Now, what's interesting, though, that I've noticed, and I cannot find any research on it, but the aphids will attack everything except for the filiformis and the bonata. And so I plan on making a video on that once I can do some more research, but there is a clear line of demarcation of where they will go and where they won't go. These two plants are right next to each other. They do not seem to like the filiformis or the bonata. I don't really know why. I want to do some research to find out, but very interesting. Here is a dichotoma giant with a little tiny Venus flytrap that came in on the mix. That's doing great. Here are all the different, there's just a ton of different bonatas in here. I fed a lot of them, so they should be popping up here, but there's, goodness gracious, staghorn in here. There's Multifida extrema. There is bonata giant, bonata regular form, filiformis Florida red, filiformis, that is Californica right there, and this is Florida giant. That has a mutation here that has 2 growth points coming out of the filiformis, 1 tendril. Pretty cool there. Here are a bunch of capensis that unfortunately have aphids all over them. If you like capensis, they are great plants. They do produce a lot, but be warned, aphids love them. And so they will, let me see if I can get this focused, come after you, and they will get on your plants. Here's some more. Now, I could dunk these underwater, about 100 110 degree water, leave them there for several hours. I could do that. I'm not at that point yet, but I'm getting close because of the fact that they are just so dang hard to get rid of. Here are my really not looking great capensis. Part of this is because of the aphid breakout and the fact that I'm needing to spray all the time, like once a week, once every 2 weeks with neem oil. I may have to try something more powerful. But the other reason why they're not looking great is because the heat. Now, capensis are a bulletproof plant, but they don't necessarily do their best in heat. And so because it has been, this greenhouse, especially this one right here, will reach temperatures of 90 plus degrees. They don't like that, and so they will be stunted in their growth. Now, when it starts getting to more of the fall months and it starts cooling down, they will start doing significantly better. Here are those, I don't know if you remember in my videos, here are those rescue plants from Lowe's, and as you can see, they are very happy. Their traps are 1.5 inches, maybe not that long, 1.25 inches wide at this time. This one's struggling a little bit more. It was from Home Depot, but doing very, very well. And so I'm excited to see that. These are brand new purchases, so they are looking rough. But I'm hoping they will recover. Growing under a grow light, not the best environment for them, but once we get past this fall or winter, I plan on for 2025, just a little sneak peek for you, doing a bog garden outside, and we're gonna kind of watch that grow together. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been like 26 minutes and I feel like I had to speed through it. I'm definitely going to do more videos. I want to do some while these are still blooming. Another one on Utricularia, just to show that off to you. Utricularia are just the most underrated carnivorous plant in my opinion. They're so cool, so beautiful. But anyways, I digress. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, I love spending time with you. I hope you enjoy it. Have a great week and a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.